Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with the story of dealing with a neighbor like Karen that unfolds with a mix of frustration and amusement. What's particularly interesting is the absurdity of the accusations and complaints she hurls. Neighbor Karen's again. I have one neighbor who's been an excellent example of Karenness for many years. Things like following my daughters home from the bus because they hopped on her rocks, coming out of her house to tell me that my son walked by with his dog the other day and stared at her, letting her dog poop on my yard, and when provided evidence indicated, it's because you never pick up your dog's poop, contacting our HOA to report my truck parked in my driveway, which many people do, but again, she's got a Karen. This morning I'm walking my dog who's still learning to behave on a leash. She's solid unless there's another dog. She loves other dogs. The dog park is nirvana for her, and thankfully she plays very gently as she's a Rottie boxer mix. Well, Karen's 3 dogs are in their yard. It's a corner lot, and our neighborhood cannot have privacy fences, so my dog spots them from half a block away and immediately tries to sprint over to say hi. I stop and say no, while waiting for her to stop pulling. It's about 2 minutes, and we've made it maybe 3 feet when the neighbor's dog notices her and starts getting excited and barking. It's 9 a.m. No one's going to care about one dog being excited. Except Karen. I hear, "Would you please stop teasing my dog?" At first, it didn't register because we were a full 2 houses away from her yard. So Karen again, "Just stop teasing my dog already." At that point, I realized she was directing this at me. So I replied, "Not trying to tease, just trying to teach my dog not to rip my arm off when she sees another dog." Karen, "Well, your training is teasing my dog, so you have to stop." Knowing who I'm dealing with, I don't answer this time and go back to focusing on my dog. She finally started to realize she gets to move forward to say hi when she doesn't try to drag me over. We start moving slowly and hear, "Oh, now you're just going to let your dog tear up my yard, aren't you?" This time I can't stop myself. Yes, that's been my plan the whole time. To walk my dog on the public sidewalk, to specifically tease your dogs, then destroy your rocks that are covered in about 2 feet of snow right now on the side of that sidewalk. I would have loved to have had some kind of response from her, but I think she was too used to me being polite and said, "Stop shouting at me." My dog said hi to hers and did quite well walking the rest of the way home. Never underestimate the effectiveness of verbal dressing down. Stop trying to explain to her it won't work. Be direct with a good old "go F yourself, you nasty piece of crap," or some such. Or a crazy eyes grin and snapping your teeth, saying, "Oh, hello there. I was hoping I'd see you today. Stay right there and I'll come get you." All while slowly walking toward her, snapping teeth and giggling. And our second story. The title must fit the job. Okay, to start this, I want to say I won't give out real names nor the name of the company, as I've been treated very well and kept care of both in a wage sense and the ability to take care of my mental well-being. So I started here at the company. I'm at about 2 years or a little less. I was just a lackey pulling decent hours doing manual labor and helping keep the pace on our receiving end with the boys over there, and got quite close and friendly with that bunch of guys. We drove forklifts, lift heavy things into storage bins and crates. Pretty easy, but also tasking labor. About 3 months in, I'm dragged into a meeting with my boss, his boss, and his boss. They ask if I'd like to learn more and get the opportunity to grow inside the company. I know that corporate jargon for growth and more money, so obviously I said yes. Within the next 2 months, I was trained on every lift and operable machine we use. Another month after that, and I was asked to take a promotion to the next pay grade and given a massive raise on top of it. Now another month passes, and I'm finally taken from the department that I started with the company and moved to an easier but faster moving one. Again, I do my absolute best to be there and put in hella hours to show my gratefulness for the opportunity. We get caught up and stay caught up while I'm at the helm of this department, and all my bosses are grinding ear to ear looking at my work. I feel like I'm doing well, and they eventually, within weeks, ask me to take another promotion and pay grade bump for a different, more demanding title. Now we're where I'm currently in the job I have now. At first, getting a hang of the timing and pace was very difficult. I was behind constantly and never able to clear my work completely out. Eventually, a couple months in, I find the rhythm and am able to clean all the work out and help other departments after I finish. Everyone's happy for like 4 months, and things are only getting easier and easier for me. So being caught up to present day, everyone that has come before me for this job has left or been let go. Nobody in my building, let alone department, knows anything about my job. I've asked over and over to train someone so when I take a vacation, they can help, but it all falls on deaf ears. My head boss left for another facility and probably better pay and was replaced by someone new to the industry and completely unaware of the situation of things and how much or how little work is needed where and when. Last week, Thursday, I had 40-plus hours in and was done with everything my department could do. New boss says everyone's mandatory for the coming Friday. I'm not hurt or dying because of it, but I'm a little sad I can't hang out with family or my girlfriend because of the 5 hours minimum we worked that next day. I show up knowing my duties are already complete. I start working on the receiving center immediately and help them get caught up, and about 2 to 3 hours in, I get called into the boss's office alone. He sits me down and tells me how much he loves my work and appreciates my time I spend to make sure we stay ahead, but now he starts in with, "I would like to see you in your own department on Fridays rather than with your friends at receiving." I try to tell him that I'm done with everything I can possibly do for the week and that I'm just lending a helpful hand, but he's hearing none of it and immediately shuts me down. He tells me something I've heard over and over on this sub, and I quote, "I don't want you doing work outside your designated title. Your friends have their job and you have yours." Before leaving, I asked for that in writing or an email, knowing that leads and other employees were going to harp on me for sitting around all day and getting paid with my feet up. He obliged, and I was sent back to my desk. Friday came around, and I sat at my desk and texted my family and girlfriend the entire shift. Nothing to do but catch up with people. Little needs to be said, but they fell well behind at receiving, and the last few days we went from waiting for the next semi to being behind and having 6 trucks waiting on us to find space. And now I refused to move my feet if I was done. My job title was firm in its description, and my boss wanted me to stay at my department with no exceptions. Now, the following Tuesday, I have every lead and manager begging me to ignore the new hotshot and continue to help as they're missing 2 guys. One quit and one went to help his wife with their new baby, leaving the sole guy up there at receiving by himself. I again just forward the email he sent me, being as he's everyone's boss, and continue to do my title's duties and nothing but my title's duties. I should also state that I'm transferring departments soon anyway, so I no longer care to help the current state of affairs they've found themselves in. Better boss, better time management, and better overall situation. But I will for the next 2 weeks only do my title's job and that alone. This might be a hot take here, but I honestly think the new manager was right to not let you work with receiving, at least to an extent. Sure, you had the time and willingness to do the work, but it shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. They needed to hire more people. And our next story. The HOA refuses to do repairs. Lived in a townhome community with those Smurf Hut 2-story quad buildings. Our HOA fees included homeowners insurance that covered the building itself. After the hurricanes of 2004, there was a fairly decent amount of damage throughout the community. Mostly fences, some flat roofs, and some of the fascia shaker shingles were beat up. Everybody started filing their claims through the HOA and were all denied with a letter telling the owners that the HOA decided for us to use the insurance money to replace all the shaker shingles. And it was up to us to use a specific company and they'd take care of it. It actually worked out for me. My fence and flat roof was fine. The only damage I suffered was to the shaker shingles, and they were pretty jacked up before the hurricane. But we had a lot of owners who had recently done their shakers and were fine but needed a new fence or their flat roof was leaking. We demanded to have a meeting with the HOA so people could express their issues. The HOA members simply didn't want to hear it. The HOA was the first line you had to cross to file a claim so they could deny you from the start. They also went around and cited every single homeowner for having missing shaker shingles, basically forcing owners to use the insurance how the HOA demanded. The property was up for sale, and basically the current property owner was using the HOA to force the individual owners to use their insurance to pretty up the property. They told us we could hire a lawyer and sue, but nobody was willing to do it. I tried to convince the owners to band together and hire a lawyer, but too many people either caved or were like me and actually needed new shakers. Unfortunately, the market crash kept us there a few more years before the market bottomed out. We bought a new home far away from any HOA and rented the townhome until the market returned, so in the end, it worked out for me. But I felt bad for other owners who were forced to do what the HOA wanted. What's particularly striking is the HOA's audacity to dictate the use of insurance money for specific repairs, almost as if the homeowner's needs and concerns are secondary. The meeting, or lack thereof, highlights a systemic issue where homeowners' voices are drowned out in favor of a predetermined plan. And our last story. HOA Karen went too far. I've got a wild story to share about my recent run-in with our local HOA, helmed by none other than the infamous Karen. So I've always been the neighborhood outlier, the one guy who never joined the HOA. My philosophy, live and let live. But apparently that memo never reached Karen's desk. My pride and joy are my two vintage cars, 69 Mustang and a 57 Chevy Bel Air, which I keep in pristine condition. One sunny afternoon, I'm out waxing the Mustang when Karen strolls up, clipboard in hand. "You know, you'd have a lot fewer leaves in your driveway if you joined the HOA," she says, eyeing my car like it's a piece of gum on her shoe. I chuckle, "Thanks, but I think I can handle a few leaves." She tuts, "It's not just about leaves, it's about community. But some people just don't want to be team players, I suppose." With a huff, she marches off. Fast forward to the next morning, I step outside to find both my vintage beauties gone, vanished. In their place, a note, in Karen's unmistakable scrawl, "Maybe this will encourage you to reconsider the value of community support. HOA." Panic mode activated, I called the police, report the theft, and then it hit me. Could Karen actually be behind this? I decided to confront her. Knocking on her door, I'm greeted by a smug smile. "Oh, it's you. Found any leaves on your driveway today?" "Not in the mood, Karen. Where are my cars?" She feigns ignorance. "Cars? What cars?" "Oh, you mean those old things? Maybe they were towed for being an eyesore." I'm fuming. "Cut the crap, Karen. I know you took them." Her smile widens. "Prove it." The police were no help without evidence, so I turned to the neighborhood. Turns out Karen's reign of terror had touched many, and they were more than happy to join forces. We launched a full-on Nancy Drew operation. 2 days of sleuthing later, we find my cars parked in a garage 3 blocks away under tarps. The best part? The garage was rented under Karen's name. Confrontation round 2 was less cordial. With the neighborhood as my backup, we cornered Karen. "Looks like the team player scored a goal, huh, Karen?" She was livid, spouting something about teaching lessons and community values, but the police weren't interested in her life lessons. They were more focused on the Grand Theft Auto part. Karen's reign ended that day, and the neighborhood threw a block party in my driveway right next to my reclaimed vintage beauties. The HOA? Let's just say it's under new management. And the moral of the story, don't mess with a man's vintage cars, or you'll end up with the whole neighborhood turning into Sherlock Holmes. As for Karen, last I heard, she's leading a new community group in her online gaming community. Let's hope they're ready for her level of teamwork. And that, my friends, is how HOA Karen tried to enforce community spirit, but ended up with community service instead. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.